Hello, dear Libra. What if I told you that the next 8 years of your life will be nothing like the past 8? That beginning this August, your destiny is no longer drifting, it's accelerating. You're not here by accident. You are here because something sacred is awakening. Something that has been waiting patiently in the dark is now being called into the light. This video was created for one purpose: to prepare you for the massive wave of wealth, power, and soul transformation that is already making its way toward you. Uranus, the planet of sudden breakthroughs and divine disruption, is about to enter your 8th house, and with it comes a tidal shift in your finances, your soul bonds, and your understanding of what it truly means to own your power. Let me ask you this. Have you felt lately like the ground beneath you is rumbling, like something big is coming but you just can't name it yet? Have you had moments where your old ways of thinking about money, relationships, and control just no longer fit who you're becoming? If so, you are already aligning with the frequency of this 8-year cycle. You are being called, not by coincidence, but by divine design. You see, Libra, the 8th house is the cosmic vault where hidden treasures live, where deep transformation occurs, and where our shadows become our gold. With Uranus lighting this house on fire for the next 8 years, you are entering a time of magnetic wealth attraction, spiritual awakening, and emotional freedom like never before. But here's the truth: big money is falling from the sky. Only if you dare to release what's weighing you down. There's an ancient spiritual truth whispered through the ages: no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And in this cycle, the greatest weapon you've ever faced is fear of loss, fear of change, fear of letting go. But the moment you decide to trust in the divine unfolding of your life, miracles will meet you where you're standing. You are not powerless in this. In fact, your ability to surrender what no longer serves, to invest in your healing, to believe in your worth is the exact power that will shape your destiny. This isn't about waiting for luck to find you. It's about remembering that you are the channel through which divine abundance flows. Let me take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for your presence here. Every like, every comment, every moment you spend with this message, each one draws you closer into the sacred circle of Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart. Your support fuels this channel and allows us to bring transformational messages like this to life. And trust me, dear Libra, you will want to stay with me until the very end of today's message, because what the universe is revealing is breathtaking. You are not here just to survive. You are here to rise, to thrive, and to rewrite the story of your wealth, your relationships, and your soul legacy. So now, tell me, what was it that drew you here today, my loyal Libras? What part of your spirit whispered that you needed to press play? Leave a comment below to confirm your divine connection with this cycle. Type the sacred number 888 if you're ready to receive what the universe has been preparing for you all along. Let's begin this journey together. What's coming is nothing short of miraculous. Let's take a different doorway in. Not everything that transforms your life comes crashing in with a loud noise. Sometimes, it begins as a subtle pull, a quiet discomfort, or an urge you can't quite explain. For Libra, this is the invitation that Uranus brings as it enters your 8th house. The 8th house is often misunderstood because its themes run deep: investment, rebirth, emotional merging, and invisible power. It rules the kind of wealth that isn't just measured in bank accounts, but in healing, trust, and energetic freedom. And Uranus? It doesn't whisper. It arrives like lightning. But what if that lightning doesn't destroy but illuminates? In astrology, the 8th house also holds the energy of shared resources. This includes inheritances, business partnerships, and investments that involve other people's money or energy. But more profoundly, it symbolizes the moments when you realize that what you have or what you can build is deeply intertwined with how safe you feel to open yourself. When Uranus activates this area, it disrupts anything built on fear or illusion. Contracts based on control, emotional debts, or financial arrangements that suppress your voice may begin to unravel. And while that can feel destabilizing, it's also deeply liberating. You are being offered a fresh start, but only if you're willing to unlearn the story that says safety comes from clinging tightly. You might find unexpected opportunities to receive grants, support, loans, surprise inheritances, or financial partnerships that come out of nowhere. But none of this comes without a deeper question. Are you open to receiving in ways you didn't plan for? Or are you only allowing abundance through channels that feel familiar? This is one of the core tests of Uranus in the 8th house, not just to bring wealth, but to expand your capacity to handle it. And sometimes, the first step is emotional. You may need to clear the old beliefs that say, "I'm not worthy unless I earn it the hard way," or "I must always be in control to be safe." There's a quiet wisdom that says, when you release what you're gripping too tightly, your hands become open to receive miracles. You don't have to chase. But you do have to surrender. Not to people, not to fear, but to the process. Letting go doesn't mean you'll be left with nothing. It means you're finally creating room for the right thing to find you. In sacred guidance, we're often reminded that our treasure is not always buried in the future, it's buried in our willingness to let go of the past. If you've carried old financial wounds, fears of betrayal in partnerships, or patterns of giving too much and receiving too little, this is your invitation to reprogram the script. Uranus doesn't ask for perfect healing. It asks for brave honesty. It asks for movement, curiosity, and the willingness to let something new in, even if it means letting something familiar go. So if money begins flowing in from unexpected places, or certain relationships begin to shift dramatically, don't be afraid. These are not punishments. They are readjustments. They are the divine's way of clearing away what was built on fear so something stronger, freer, and more aligned can be born. Maybe you don't need to do more. Maybe you just need to stop resisting the breakthrough. As this 8-year window begins, ask yourself, what do I want to transform, not just in my bank account, but in my story about value, power, and connection? You are not a passive player in this story. You are the one choosing how to meet it. And the moment you choose trust over fear, opportunity will meet you in ways that defy logic. Your wealth is not coming only from effort, it's coming from alignment. Trust that. Allow that. Let it surprise you. Sometimes, the biggest blessings arrive dressed as surprises, not strategies. While logic tells us to plan, structure, and analyze, life often chooses a more poetic route. In this new Uranian cycle unfolding for you, dear Libra, wealth won't necessarily come from where you expect. It might not come from the job you're applying to, the client you're pitching, or the project you've spent months preparing. Instead, it may drop into your life through an inheritance you didn't know existed, a sudden investment opportunity that feels intuitively right, a financial partnership that forms out of a casual conversation, or even a check in the mail from a forgotten refund. That's the magic of unexpected money, and it doesn't require effort as much as it requires openness. There is a principle in universal law that says, you only receive to the extent that you believe you are safe to receive. Most people unknowingly block their own abundance, not because they lack opportunity, but because they hold on tightly to one idea of where prosperity should come from. And when it doesn't look like that, they overlook it. But what if, instead of looking harder, you simply widened the doorway? During this 8-year portal, you are being asked to release your grip on how and focus on your yes. When you say yes to abundance in all its forms, you give the universe permission to surprise you. Numerologically, the number 8 is a powerful code. It's not only associated with material wealth but with the energy of karmic alignment. It loops infinitely what you give out, you draw back in, multiplied. But there's a secret embedded in this number that many forget. The most potent energy of 8 is not effort, but restoration. This cycle is not here to wear you out trying harder, it's here to restore balance where you've been depleted, to return wealth where there was loss, and to realign your finances with your self-worth. Imagine the financial doors opening not because you chased them, but because you stopped slamming them shut. That is the essence of receptivity. You can work hard and be open to ease. You can be grounded in reality and trust that miracles do not require your permission to unfold. This is where the law of attraction becomes more than a concept, it becomes a daily embodiment. When you start your morning by affirming, I am ready to receive money from known and unknown sources, you shift your vibration. You move from control to co-creation. One of the most empowering practices you can do during this phase is to write a list that begins with, I am ready to receive money from, and allow your heart, not just your head, to fill in the rest. You might write, from unexpected refunds, from joyful service, from passive income, from divine alignment, from generosity, from grace. Say this aloud each day as if you already believe it. You don't need to convince anyone else, just your own subconscious. And if there's a part of you that still hesitates, that feels unworthy of ease or skeptical of blessings that come without struggle, take a breath. Remember that we are not meant to walk through life relying only on our own effort. Sometimes, we are simply called to be open. To allow blessings to find us. To understand that the divine does not reward control, it rewards trust. You were never meant to earn your worth. You were born with it. So in this next chapter, let your faith be louder than your fear. Let your willingness to receive override your need to predict. And know that it is not only possible but promised that big money is already on its way to you from places your mind could never have imagined, but your soul has long prepared for. Not every transformation begins with clarity. Sometimes, it begins with collapse. And in the next phase of your journey, dear Libra, the stars are inviting you into something deeper than change. They are inviting you into emotional liberation. When Uranus moves through your 8th house, it doesn't just disrupt finances or partnerships on the surface. It cracks open the vault of your inner world, where long-held fears, hidden desires, and buried grief have been quietly shaping your decisions. This is where real wealth begins, not in the numbers, but in your nervous system, in your capacity to trust, to surrender, and to feel fully alive. This is a time when many Libras will feel called to let go of emotional entanglements that once felt essential. Relationships may shift or fall away, not in cruelty, but in clarity. You may suddenly see how you've been compromising your inner truth for harmony, or how certain bonds have kept you more confined than connected. And though letting go can feel like loss, it's often just the first breath of your own freedom. As one wise voice reminds us, it's not weakness to release what no longer supports your growth, it's wisdom. The 8th house governs transformation through shared energy, be it financial, emotional, or spiritual. And when Uranus electrifies this space, your soul may demand a recalibration. It might ask you to surrender your need to control outcomes, to fix others, or to keep peace at the expense of your own peace. It may challenge you to question, what am I still holding onto out of fear, rather than faith? In tarot, this process mirrors the Toera card many fear, yet few understand. It represents the breaking down of false foundations. Not as punishment, but as permission. Permission to finally rebuild with truth. Sometimes, wealth doesn't come because we're still clinging to scarcity of love, of trust, of self-worth. The Tower reminds us that what is falling was never meant to last. And what remains afterward is what truly matters. There is also beauty in the moments that follow release. When the silence settles, when the grief passes, there's a space, a clear, fertile field where new love, deeper partnerships, and untapped creativity can take root. This is the gift of emotional alchemy. You become someone who no longer reacts from old pain, but responds from deep presence. And that, Libra, is one of your greatest spiritual currencies. This journey is not about perfection. It's about allowing. Allowing the heart to break when it needs to. Allowing the past to close its chapter. And allowing your future to arrive without resistance. You may find that your capacity to love expands. You may become a magnet for people who meet you with equal depth, who don't just admire your light but can also hold space for your shadow. And in that sacred meeting, your soul will remember, this is what it means to be free. There is a quiet teaching that says true abundance doesn't flow to those who have no wounds but to those who are willing to heal. If your heart has cracked open before, know that it hasn't made you weaker, it has made you more capable of receiving love that doesn't disappear. And yes, even money that doesn't feel like a survival game, but an extension of who you are becoming. So if this chapter asks you to let go, trust the letting go. If it invites you to feel more than you're used to, say yes. If it surprises you with a new love or an unexpected ending, know that it's not a detour, it's divine timing. There is nothing to fear in becoming more of who you truly are. This is not the end. It's the unveiling of your soul's greatest inheritance. One that was never meant to be earned but always meant to be remembered. Sometimes the path to abundance doesn't require more effort, it requires more attunement. Libra, what's awakening in you now is not just a financial shift but an energetic one. From 2025 to 2033, as Uranus activates your 8th house, you're not only invited to release old limitations but to sharpen your inner compass. This is a time when your intuitive intelligence becomes your greatest asset, stronger than any degree, louder than any expert, and more precise than any spreadsheet. The world is evolving rapidly, and those who will thrive are not necessarily the ones who do more, but the ones who listen more deeply to their own frequency. During this 8-year window, you may find yourself knowing things before others. Opportunities may arrive before your logic can explain them. You might feel called to invest in something that hasn't yet become mainstream, like cryptocurrency, emerging technologies, online healing platforms, or digital education systems. While others hesitate, you may feel a silent yes rising inside you. don't ignore that voice. In the new economy, intuition is not a luxury, it's a strategy. There's a sacred teaching that reminds us, you don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step. This applies especially to intuitive finance. Often, your heart will nudge you toward a decision that your mind hasn't fully rationalized. And when you ignore that nudge, you may find yourself circling back to the same lesson, only this time with more regret. What if wealth wasn't something you chase but something you allow? What if your body knew how to lead you toward aligned opportunities if only you would pause long enough to listen? This is not about abandoning logic or discipline. It's about balancing the seen and the unseen. The most powerful entrepreneurs and creators of our time are not just intelligent theory energetically aligned. They know how to read the room, sense timing, and feel when a decision is off, even if it looks perfect on paper. This is where you are being guided now to refine your sensitivity, to pay attention to subtle signals, and to trust that what feels light is often right. Your intuitive gifts are part of your divine design. You were never meant to rely solely on effort. You were built to perceive, to discern, and to navigate with grace. And yet, you may still doubt yourself. You may still second-guess that inner voice because you've been conditioned to believe that productivity matters more than presence. But here's the truth, no amount of action can make up for misaligned direction. And when you are aligned, you can often do less and receive more. Try asking yourself this: when have I ignored my intuition and paid the price? And what could have shifted if I had honored it instead? Take a moment to reflect, and if you're open to it, share that story in the comments below. Sometimes, voicing the lesson is the very thing that clears the block and opens the energetic gate for something new to come in. The years ahead will reward not just hard work but soulful listening. Learn to treat your inner yes as sacred. Learn to pause before forcing. Learn to breathe before jumping. And most importantly, learn to trust that if something feels wrong, it probably isn't. If it feels aligned, even if it's terrifying, it may just be the breakthrough you've been praying for. You don't have to know everything in advance to move forward. You just need to trust the next right step. The one your spirit already recognizes before your mind catches up. Let intuition be your compass, and watch how quickly the world starts opening doors that hard work alone could never unlock. There's something sacred about taking action, not from fear, but from clarity. As this energetic window between August 2nd and 4th opens, you are being given a moment in time to step into alignment with your next chapter. These days are not just numbers on a calendar, they are portals. They invite you to become deliberate, not just in your intentions but in your actual daily choices. What you begin now has the power to ripple across the next 8 years. So let's begin where all change begins, not with the outer world, but with your inner permission. In the realm of finances, this is a powerful time to redesign your relationship with money. Not just by asking how to make more, but by redefining what wealth means to you. Does it look like freedom? Security? The ability to be generous without hesitation? Start by writing a fresh money plan, not just for income goals, but for how you want to feel about money. Let go of financial strategies rooted in fear or survival. Replace them with visions built on value and vibrational alignment. Ask yourself honestly, what does it mean to live richly, not just earn richly? On a soul level, healing must walk beside ambition. The most powerful financial expansion often follows deep emotional restoration. If you've been carrying silent grief, resentment, or inner exhaustion, this is the moment to begin the repair. Consider exploring energy healing, meditation practices, or even pulling tarot for clarity, not as prediction, but as reflection. When you start healing emotionally, your energetic frequency shifts and money, love, and purpose can finally find their way in without resistance. Physically, your body is not a machine, it's a mirror. It reflects the stress you tolerate and the peace you postpone. Be intentional about restoring your system. Reduce your caffeine intake if it's been spiking your anxiety. Increase magnesium, omega-3s, and hydration to support your nervous system. Add gentle movements like restorative yoga or silent walking to bring the body back into rhythm. These are not luxuries, they are gateways to your clarity, your patience, and your power. In your career, it's time to rethink collaboration. Are you surrounded by people who match your energy or drain it? Look for opportunities to align with those who not only understand your vision but who amplify it. If you've been feeling stagnant, consider learning a digital skill or drafting a personal business concept. The era of waiting for external permission is over. This is your moment to co-create the life you've dreamed of, a line step at a time. And in love, honesty is your highest vibration. There is no more space for relationships that feel like performances or emotional tightropes. This is your permission to express your truth naturally, without guilt. To stop trying to keep peace at the cost of your inner peace. If a connection feels forced, ask yourself gently, is this nourishing me or merely numbing me? You are not here to please everyone, you are here to be loved for who you truly are. Remember, action grounded in awareness always bears fruit. And sometimes, the smallest steps taken with the clearest heart create the largest waves. If you've been waiting for a sign to begin again, this is it. Not with perfection, but with presence. Not with certainty, but with surrender. Trust that your willingness to move forward, even gently, is already opening doors that effort alone could never unlock. And above all, remind yourself what sacred wisdom has always whispered, to those who ask in alignment, much is given, not all at once, but exactly when they're ready to receive. Your readiness is here. Your timeline is now. Take one step toward your destiny and watch how destiny runs to meet you. And now, dear Libra, as we arrive at the closing breath of this sacred message, I invite you to pause, not just to reflect, but to remember. This is not just a prediction. It's not just guidance. It's a mirror. A reminder of what you've always known deep inside. You were never meant to play small with your light, your love, or your legacy. What lies ahead is not merely a change in circumstances but a change in you. And that, my love, changes everything. These next 8 years are not a waiting room for destiny. They are the ignition point of your millionaire soul timeline. Financial breakthroughs, soul-deep love, healing partnerships, liberated emotions, intuitive success, all of it is already circling you, waiting for your readiness. Waiting for your yes. But the most beautiful part of all this? You're not here to wait for alignment, you're here to be the alignment. You are not just the one who balances. You are the one who transforms. You turn uncertainty into vision, loss into wisdom, emotion into magnetism. And now you're being asked to turn your own life into art. Into power. Into wealth not just measured by what you earn, but by how free, how honest, and how vibrant you allow yourself to be. So I ask you now, what would change if you gave yourself full permission to live as the version of you that no longer asks for approval? What becomes possible when you stop trying to keep the peace outside and choose to make peace inside first? Who could you become if you believed, with your entire being, that you are already worthy of everything you desire? You don't have to answer those questions alone. Type them into the comments below, speak them into the wind, or write them in a journal that knows your truth. Whatever you do, express them. Because expression is the beginning of manifestation. And when you speak your soul's longing, the universe listens louder. Let me take a moment, from the bottom of my heart, to thank you for being here exactly as you are. Every view, every like, every comment, every quiet moment of resonance, each one brings your energy closer into the sacred family of Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Your presence is felt, your light is valued, and your journey is honored. And if this message touched something inside you, if you felt seen, understood, or called, then I invite you to carry it with you. To revisit it when the road gets blurry. And to share it with someone who might just need the same reminder today. So before you go, take one final breath. Not a breath of ending, but of becoming. Of stepping forward into the extraordinary story that has always been waiting for you to say, I'm ready. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, and share it with someone whose soul you love. And tell me below what truth awakened in you today. What silent shift did you feel as you listened? Because Libra, what you're stepping into now, it's not the end of something. It's the beginning of everything.